We're at Advent Health, Winter Park Emergency Department. William was having some issues, and we checked with the VA earlier, who ran it past the doctor, and they called us back and said, well, it might be better to go into the emergency department now and have things checked out before it becomes an emergent situation. So that's what we're doing. We're having him checked out. So we'll see what happens. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's a bright, sunny, hot, and soon to be hotter day in Central Florida here. And I am sitting outside the Lake Nona Veterans Administration Hospital Clinic Emergency Room. I'm not allowed to be in. William is inside to be seen and have a few tests run, I believe. And we'll see how he does after that, but hopefully not to be admitted. But his doctor suggested yesterday afternoon that he be seen at a clinic, or an ER rather. Suggested that he come into an ER to be tested because he was having some complications. Nothing critical, so it wasn't emergent, but he decided, okay, may as well try and get it over with. So we went to the hospital locally last night to have the testing done. Well, we were there for 3 hours, and I finally went up to the desk and said, any idea when he would be taken back to see the doctor? Well, they told me that they were waiting for beds to open up in the hospital so that they could discharge people from the ER, admit them into the hospital, which would open up a bed in the ER then for a new patient to come in. And they were on a hold pattern waiting for beds to open up in the hospital. We had no idea when we were going to be seen. There were 5 people ahead of William anyway. So I told William it may be hours yet, at the sound of it. And he just decided that we were going to go home and we were going to start the whole thing over the next day. He wasn't in an emergency situation, really. It was that his doctor's office strongly suggested that he go in and have certain tests run to see what his problems were stemming from. So, and he felt okay too, just kind of dragged down. We went home. First thing this morning, he gets up and he says, well, we're both awake, so do you want to head to the emergency room? Okay, fine. Off we go. He decided, though, to come to the VA facility and try that out because, number one, they would have his records. Number two, they would have the information regarding the discussion with the doctor's nurse from yesterday because they're all tied into the same computer. He just felt that it would be easier to come to a veterans facility. So we did. We came out here to Lake Nona and parked, went in the building, got him checked in right away. Turns out I wasn't really supposed to be in the building, but I didn't know that. There was nobody else in there but the employees, the nurses. And anyway, they took him right back. So hopefully it will not be too long. I am waiting out in the car like a good little girl. And we'll see what happens. I'm hoping he will not be admitted. Hopefully it's just, medication that he needs at this point. But I guess we'll know in a couple of hours. If I can wait out in the car that long, I don't know. We'll see. This hospital is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's no fast food places I can go and hang out or, use the facilities if necessary. But anyway, I'm here. And to keep me out of the building now, there is a military policeman on duty at the door. So I guess I made it in the first time and broke the law. I would have been stopped if she had been there, but she wasn't. So anyway, at least I know William is in there. He's being seen, or will be seen shortly, and he will be taken care of. This morning it will be done before we leave the campus. So anyway, how's your weekend going? I thought we were going to have a very quiet, leisurely, holiday weekend, but this is the way it's starting at an emergency room. But oh well. You do what you have to do, right? And I'm glad William decided to come to the emergency room or even just to call the nurse to talk to her about some issues he was having, because he'd been dealing with these issues for a little while and it was building up and causing problems for him. So yeah, it was time to get it dealt with. So here we are, taking care of business. And I will keep you informed as to what takes place. I hope that they do not admit him, and I don't know if they will. I don't know if he'll actually let them admit him. He doesn't want to be admitted into the hospital. He was leery enough about going to an emergency room because of the virus out and around, and he was afraid of catching it. So he is even more so afraid of being admitted into the hospital where he might catch something, So, no, he will fight being admitted, but we'll do what he has to do. I'll let you know what happens. Hi, everybody. Yes, this is the new fashion, a dangling mask. You go nowhere on this campus unless you have a mask on. Well, I'm in the car yet, and it's running, and there's nobody around me. It's just me, so I have it readily accessible. But I was waiting out in the car for about an hour or so, and William called and told me that he was going for testing and whatever, and he would be a little while, an hour or so. So I thought, okay, I'm going to head down the road and see what I can find, as far as stores go, or a McDonald's or something like that to eat at, to have something real quick for breakfast. So I did. I asked the guy, they have guards here at the entrance and at the exit of the area. So I asked one of the guards where there was something really close by, and he gave me directions, and that's where I went. And I was spending a very leisurely, hour or so there, and until William called me and said that he was ready. They finished all the tests that they were going to do, and they were taking him down to the pharmacy department to pick up some medication, and but he was discharged. So okay. So I'm back here at the VA waiting for William to come out, and I think it'll still be a little while before I see him, but it's not busy here at all today. So I'm glad that we got him here and in and out within less time than we were waiting to be seen at the hospital in the area where we live. So it was a good trip out here. It was a good decision that he made to come out to this facility. So he's not telling me what they said was wrong. He said, I'll fill you in on the whole wash list when I see you. So it's like, what? I think he meant laundry list, but anyway. But this is it. He didn't say anything about they're talking about his being admitted or suggesting it or anything. I'll find that out later, okay? But now I'm just waiting for him to come out of the facility. I'll let you know what I find out from here. Well, it is now Friday mid-afternoon, okay? And it has been actually almost a full day of taking care of business for William, starting off with a visit to the local emergency room last night, where we waited and waited and waited and waited and waited to be called back, but they were kind of in a holding pattern, or whatever you want to call it, because there were no beds available in the back where patients were being seen by the doctors. They had so many people waiting for admittings that, they just couldn't take any more patients in. So, but did they tell us that? No. I asked. I don't know who else might have got up to the desk to ask, but I knew, because that's the emergency room I used to work in, okay? But I did go up and I asked the person working at the desk when my husband might be able to be moved to the back, at least to be seen by the doctor. And I was told all the information I just relayed to you. So after waiting for 3.5 hours there, William finally decided that he'd had enough, and we went home. And first thing this morning, though, he said he got out of bed and he came out and said, let's go. So we went out to the VA this time, and that's where he got seen. And they did several tests there. They did an EKG. Wish they would have done a echocardiogram. That's what the doctor's nurse said that he really needed to have done. But he didn't remember that, and they wouldn't let me go back with him. So it's like, we figured that she put the notes, the information in the, on his file in the computer system, which the ER was able to look at. But they didn't do that test. They did an EKG, they did blood work, and they did something else that William couldn't remember what it was. But they did an x-ray too of his legs. Okay. And they determined they still wanted to run a couple of tests, and I'm sure one of them would have been the electrocardiogram, or rather the echocardiogram, one or the other. But William did not want to stay. Since I was not allowed to go with him into the emergency room, and since I was not allowed to go into the hospital room with him, he did not want to stay at the hospital for anything. So he got discharged with some medication. He's now on a diuretic and also a blood thinner. And he is taking that now until he sees his doctor at the VA clinic next week. He's going to call and see if he can't see the doctor or do another teleconferencing type of appointment with a nurse. That's good too. They did want to keep him for further testing though, and I really wish he would have stayed to have that done, because I think that's ultimately what's going to have to take place. He just didn't want to face it, and especially now since I wasn't able to go and be there with him and that sort of thing. But I told him, you know what, next week, if they want to put you in the hospital to do tests, it would probably end up being just overnight, or one full day overnight and then into the next day, and then you're home. I can manage on my own, but anyway, what the doctor that he saw today at the VA clinic, the emergency room rather, determined was that he had something to do with A-Fib, arterial fibrillation. And okay, I have not heard that from his GP, actually, not verbatim. We'll discuss that in the future, but it could be a possibility that that's what's happening now. From the testing that they did, they saw that 2 of the upper valves of his heart were not functioning properly. And that's why they wanted to do more testing, but he said no at this time. But he will probably have further testing in the future, whether he likes it or not. So anyway, we're going to have a quiet weekend at home. If anything should happen, I know to call 911, and he would go right into the emergency room and be seen, and we'd take things from there. But we're going to have a quiet, low-key weekend at home. So I think we'll be okay until Monday, when he can call and talk to his doctor's office and take things from there. In the meantime, yes, he's on the new medication and continuing his old medication as well, which I think needs to be updated. I think that he's been on that medication for many years that I've known of. So I think it's time that, every now and then you got to tweak your medication, because as you get older and progress further with your illnesses, things do change in your body. And he has not had change in his medication for several years to, catch up to his system changes. So anyway, I'm not a medical person, but that's my belief anyway. I have to say that. I'm not a medical person. But anyway, we'll be taking care of matters into the next week as well. So that's why today is kind of a little bit of a different video. Sorry about that, but this is what my day has been. So I guess this kind of turned out to be like a daily vlog. We're home now. William is taking a nap. I should be taking a nap. I've been up since 4 in the morning, but I cannot sleep. So that's okay. I'll sleep good tonight probably. And we're getting ready. We're hearing grumblings, thunder. We're going to have some rain here pretty soon. And that's the way it has been lately. We're having afternoon thunderstorms, which are nice, but they don't cool things down. So it's still hot and humid. It's just that in the afternoon we have a thunderstorm for maybe a half hour, and then we're right back to the humidity. So anyway, we're home now relaxing, and that's the rest of the day here. And that's about all I have to say this time around. Hope you're all having a good day. Have a great holiday weekend. Be safe. They've canceled a lot of 4th of July celebrations around the area here. A lot of fireworks have been canceled, and actually there's a possibility that it might rain anyway, and that would cancel things out. But up front, they're canceling because of, safe distancing and the virus issues and that sort of thing. So it's going to be a pretty quiet 4th of July weekend for a lot of people, and hopefully they just learn new ways to celebrate. Stay at home, barbecue out, have family members over, gather with family at home in your own yard, in your own backyards, and have a nice barbecue meal for the weekend. Enjoy the holiday and stay safe in all ways. Okay? Anyway, that's about it for now. So I'll be talking to you again real soon. But until then, bye for now.